Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be providing an overview of the Kids Off Social Media Act, otherwise known as KOSMA. This act is designed to protect children from the negative mental health and developmental effects of early social media exposure. Given the growing concerns about social media and the impact it has on minors, this bill proposes a stronger age regulations and parental oversight. I'm going to walk through the key aspects of the legislation and its potential implications. And my goal is to provide a clear understanding of the issue, its historical context, and why it's critical today. A quick introduction to KOSMA. The Kids Off Social Media Act was introduced in April of 2024 by Senator Brian Schatz into the U.S. Senate. Some key objectives include prohibiting users under 13 from accessing social media. They want to ban personalized algorithmic recommendations for users under 17 and also restrict social media use in school. And also, their purpose is to address concerns over youth mental health that's linked to social media. Social media has fundamentally changed how young people interact, learn, and develop, and while it may offer opportunities for connection, research has increasingly linked early and excessive social media use to mental health disorders, decreased attention spans, and also increased risk of online exploitation. KOSMA aims to place stronger safeguards on access for minors to protect their cognitive and emotional development, and this legislation aims to address concerns at the impact of social media on youth mental health. To provide some historical context and need for regulation, beginning with mental health concerns, there have been links between social media use and anxiety/depression in children. According to the CDC, adolescent depression and anxiety rates have risen by 40% over the past decade, with excessive social media use linked to increased stress and mental health challenges. Additionally, 30% of adolescent girls in the U.S. reported seriously considering suicide in 2021, with social media identified as a contributing factor. Social media also impacts focus, sleep, and self-esteem. Dr. Twenge, an expert psychologist, warns that excessive social media use is rewiring the adolescent brain, leading to low self-esteem, sleep disruptions, and addictive-like behaviors. Some online dangers include cyberbullying, exploitation, and inappropriate content. Increased cyberbullying and online exploitation are widespread, yet many of these platforms lack effective age verification mechanisms. These platforms struggle to regulate harmful content, exposing minors to risks like harassment and predatory behavior. Many social media algorithms are intentionally designed content to keep children engaged for extended period of time, which negatively affects sleep patterns and academic performance. And KOSMA is especially relevant now as states and federal agencies are increasingly recognizing that there is a need for proactive regulations rather than just reactive measures that harm occurs. KOSMA has 4 key provisions, including age restrictions. They want to ban social media access for children under the age of 13. Additionally, there's parental consent, which requires approval for 13 to 17-year-olds. They have a stronger age verification, which will mandate platforms to implement stricter age checks. And lastly, it wants to limit algorithmic recommendations for minors, reducing addictive content that targets minors. And this prevents platforms from deliberately steering children towards addictive or harmful content. All of these provisions aim to delay exposure, promote responsible digital habits, and support healthier adolescent development. So who supports and opposes KOSMA? For the supporters, there's often mental health advocates, parents and educators, and lawmakers concerned about child safety. Mental health experts and pediatricians emphasize the developmental risks of excessive social media use. Parents and educators are concerned about the effects that online addiction have on students. And lawmakers focused on child safety recognize the need for stronger federal guidelines. An advocacy group called Count on Mothers conducted a survey that indicated 93% of moms believed there should be a minimum age of 13 for children to use social media apps, and 96% of moms believe that Protecting Kids on Social Media Act should become law. These educators and mental health professionals, such as the National League for Nursing, also express support for the bill based on concerns about mental health and safety of children. But there are opposers as well, including social media companies and digital right and free speech advocates. Obviously, social media companies argue that these restrictions would reduce their user base and revenue, and digital right groups express concern about online privacy, free speech, and parental autonomy. Some parents believe that decisions about social media use should be made within families rather than regulated into the law. And Choice opposes KOSMA, arguing that the bill's provisions could infringe on parental rights by limiting parents' ability to decide when and how their children engage with social media. They also raise constitutional concerns, suggesting that the bill may violate free speech rights. And furthermore, the Electronic Frontier Foundation also opposes KOSMA, arguing children, even those that are under 13, have a constitutional right to speak online and access other speech via social media. If passed into law, KOSMA could have far-reaching benefits for public health and healthcare systems, including mental health improvement and reducing mental health issues among teens. This could reduce the prevalence of anxiety and depression among teens, lowering rates of self-harm and suicide ideation, and adolescent depression and anxiety rates that have risen 40% could be decreased as well. It could lower exposure to harmful content, encourage healthier digital habits, and also give parents more control over their child's online presence. Implementing KOSMA is taking a preventative approach to public health rather than waiting for these digital age issues to escalate further. Despite the benefits, KOSMA does present some challenges, for example, enforcement issues. How will the platforms verify ages effectively? Some privacy concerns with data collection risks and age verification. With stricter age verification, it would require additional data collection, which would raise cybersecurity risks. Additionally, the impact on digital literacy, limits on educational and social opportunities, and lastly, the parental responsibility infringement versus government regulation. Some argue that decisions about online access should rest with families and not the legislation, so all of these would need to be addressed within the critical time period to refine the bill. This bill can apply to us biblically when we look through Proverbs for guarding our hearts and our minds. It says, Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Social media influences our thoughts, emotions, and behavior, and this bill, KOSMA, seeks to create healthier boundaries. Additionally, exposure to harmful content and toxic online environments can shape our young minds negatively. Secondly, parental guidance and wisdom is seen through Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. This encourages parents to take an active role in guiding their children's online habits. There are some recommended revisions that need to happen before this bill should be passed into law, including focusing on digital literacy education rather than outright bans. According to security.org, 85% of parents support digital literacy education in schools over the ban. Additionally, offering guidance to parents on fostering healthy social media habits would create a more effective approach than enforcing a federal restriction. Secondly, enhanced content moderation without removing beneficial algorithmic recommendations. Parental education programs on responsible social media use. And lastly, providing stricter oversight on harmful content rather than just broad restrictions on the access. In summary, KOSMA is a critical step in addressing social media's impact on youth. KOSMA seeks to protect children's mental health and development, establish clear parental oversight, and hold platforms accountable for enforcing age restrictions. Legislative action should prioritize mental health, online safety, and access to these beneficial digital resources. However, there may need to be revisions that are necessary to balance the protection. And as you consider this bill, I encourage you to weigh the significant public health benefits against potential implementation challenges, creating a safer digital future for the next generation. Thank you for your time. And these are my references.